I want you to walk down memory lane with me. I know many of you here have grown up dancing since you were little girls. So can you picture walking through the studio doors for the first time? Maybe wearing that new leotard and holding your first pair of ballet slippers? Do you remember what it was like to meet your first teacher? I know I do. Her name was Miss Charmaine. I think many of you actually know her. Well, I can see that big blonde curly hair and that huge smile on her face as she welcomed my mom and I to the studio. Most importantly, she really helped make us feel appreciated. I think many of us here today are simply teachers because of the teachers we had when we were growing up and how special they made us feel. We should be doing the same with our students here at Ballerinas Academy of Dance. We have a great opportunity to make an impact on these girls' lives. So I've come up with 3 ways that we're going to discuss today on how we can increase our customer satisfaction. You can follow along here on your agenda. We're going to discuss professional attire, how to properly greet our students, and then implementing a rewards card program. We have to remember that this is a business, and these are our customers. So the more satisfied they are, the more that they're going to stay with our studio longer, and also they could possibly give us referrals. Referrals brings business and money, which helps us cut down costs, such as that recital fee that I know all of you have been talking about lately and how much you want that to be lowered. So let's go ahead and get started with our first point on professional attire. I know for some of you, it might just be easier to slip on a big t-shirt and a pair of shorts to teach dance in. And a lot of you might actually take a class after teaching, so it's difficult to just bring 2 sets of clothing. But we're not looking as professional as I would like. In fact, I even overheard some parents making comments on how our teachers were dressing. So here's how we're going to change that. And it's important that we change that because we have our own studio dress code policy that we have at the end of each one of our newsletters. And we can't expect our students to follow this if we're not setting an example ourselves for them, because parents take notice of this. So we're going to make sure that we wear our hair pulled back into a bun and away from our face. I want all of us to wear ballet and pink tights when we're teaching our ballet class, and for other genres, by simply wearing dance leggings or appropriate dance pants would be okay. Here's the best part. I've ordered us faculty t-shirts. Now, this will help us all just look more uniform. They're very comfortable, and I've covered the cost for us. Hopefully this will help because you can just slip it on over whatever you have for maybe the next dance class that you'll be taking. We have to understand that the more professional we look, the more professional the studio will look overall and help increase, most importantly, our parents' satisfaction because they'll feel comfortable bringing their child to a very professional studio. So now that we've discussed how we're going to look, let's talk more about how we're going to properly greet our students and move on to our second point. Now, when you arrive, I know it can get a little tight here in the lobby because there's not a lot of space. But would you feel special if you had walked in through those studio doors and you weren't greeted by your teacher? Of course not. Here's how we're going to make a change. I want all of us to make sure that we arrive so we have at least 10 minutes to make sure we can mingle with students and parents. Now, the teachers who are going to be at this studio but aren't teaching that night, why don't you just stay in the office and leave more space for everybody else? When you're speaking to a younger child, make sure to kneel down and meet their eye level. Don't simply ask them, "Hi, how are you doing?" But try to be more specific. Use their name. Try to bring up something that they talked about last week, something unique to them. They're going to feel special, and their parents are going to notice that. And that's going to make them feel good as well. So that will help make them feel part of this Ballerinas Academy of Dance family that we focus on so much and how proud we are to have. So we've now discussed how we're going to appear when arriving at the studio, how we're going to greet our students when they arrive. Let's move on to our third point on implementing the rewards card program. Do you recall when we first implemented this a few months ago? Well, we're definitely not doing it as much as I would like by the look of the huge stack of cards we have in the office right now. Here's how we're going to change that. I want one card to be passed out to each of our students every single month. And in order to make sure you can keep track of it, just put a little check mark next to their name on the pay sheet. That way you know each student has gotten one. I want to read an email, if I can, of one of our parents. They sent this to me after their child had received one of our rewards cards. It says, "Miss Carly, I wanted to tell you how much I appreciated when my child received her first rewards card at class tonight. Believe it or not, it is hanging in her room right now. She showed her dad and sister when she got home. I can tell how proud she is. Thank you for the encouragement and recognition. See you next week. P.S. Shelby's friend is going to try class next month. They're not happy at the pink slipper, so hopefully it works out." Wow. Wouldn't you want to make every single child feel that way? I know it made me happy just to read that. It can only take 5 minutes to fill out. So for 5 minutes, you can make a change in that child's attitude and make them feel special. Even going beyond that, she gave us a referral. Do you honestly think that Shelby's mom would have referred our studio if we didn't make her child feel special? If we didn't stand out from our competition? Of course not. So this should just really serve as an example of how important it is to implement this rewards card program. Because every single one of our children does something we can commend them on, even our opportunity students. Whether it's simply the smile they had on during rehearsal, pointing their toes, or just listening to directions, you can commend them on something in order to make them feel special. We've discussed our 3 main points on customer satisfaction. We're going to appear more professional at the studio by wearing our new faculty t-shirts and following our dress code policy. We're going to properly greet our students by arriving 10 minutes early and finding something personal to talk to them about. And lastly, we discussed implementing the rewards card program by giving each child 1 rewards card every single month. I know if we implement these changes, we can really be successful and help increase our customer satisfaction. And that can get us more referrals. Remember, these referrals bring in money, and that way we can cut down those costs, like the recital fee I know you all wish was lower. But honestly, we can only do it if we're all in this together and we all help each other out. What I want you to take away from this meeting today is remember that feeling when you walked into the studio doors for the first time. Remember what it was like to take your very first dance class and meeting that teacher. Because if you remember that feeling, I'm sure it's just going to push you to want to be the best teacher that you can be.